Welcome everyone to Discover This. Today we're going to be talking about boxing great Archie Moore and his salt mine training camp and his bucket of blood gym and all the stuff he created out here in Ramona, California. So let's get started.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So Archie Moore moved to the San Diego area in 1938. He eventually bought 110 acres of land near Ramona, California, and built a training camp he called the Salt Mine. The property included 5 homes, a barn, which was converted into a gym that he called the Bucket of Blood, a boxing ring, and a sweat house. And it was up a dirt road that Archie called Salt Mine Road. In the 1950s, it was the place to come and train for up-and-coming boxers. Archie Moore would put them through their paces and they would run the surrounding hills, sometimes encountering mountain lions and rattlesnakes. In the early days of the salt mine training camp, there was no staff, so the trainees had to help with cooking and cleaning. Now, Archie Moore Road didn't exist back in the day. It was just a dirt road. And Salt Mine Road was also a dirt road, and that's how you would access Archie Moore's property. And Archie Moore Road is how you get to the Mount Woodson Golf Club off of Highway 67. Now we're on Salt Mine Road here. Again, used to be a dirt road. And there was this monument marker here letting you know that you were on your way to Archie Moore's Salt Mine training camp. And this road, Salt Mine Road that he called it, was one of the trails that he would take his boxing proteges as trainees on when they do their runs. Also some trails around what is now the golf course. But all around these hills, he would put them through their paces. Now the camp property was up there in this area. It's mostly been demolished. That water tower's gone. There's a few foundations left up there, but this has basically been parceled out into all sorts of different properties and luxury homes and things now. So being private property, we can't go see what's left of the foundations. But anyway, this is kind of where the training camp itself was, up in this little hill up here. And we'll show you the Google aerial and you can kind of see what we're talking about. In the fall of 1960, after he had come back from the Summer Olympics, a young Cassius Clay was sent by his managers and investors to the salt mine for some training. Training at the salt mine was a 6-week intensive program. And here's a photo of Cassius Clay and Archie Moore running along Salt Mine Road right by this monument marker. After his 6 weeks, Cassius Clay left camp and went on to fame and fortune as Muhammad Ali. Archie Moore also trained a fighter by the name of George Foreman here at the salt mine training camp, way before George Foreman got into making grills and things like that. Now, part of that 110 acres included what is now Mount Woodson Golf Course. So back over in there where you see the hill back there with the rocks on it, all that was part of Archie Moore's 110 acres and some of this golf course land. So as you're shanking your ball into the sand trap, especially over in this area over here, you would have been on Archie Moore's salt mine training camp property at the time. Now this is the castle that's right next to Mount Woodson Golf Club, and this was not part of Archie Moore's property. Again, part of the golf course was, but this particular building was not. But Archie Moore ran his training camp for over 10 years. and he loved it up here in the hills of Ramona, and he wanted to raise his family here. But his wife loved the city, so to keep her happy, Archie Moore bought a house in the city of San Diego, and that's where they would live and raise their family. So Archie Moore, with his fame and fortune, or what fortune they made back in that day, boxers, you know, they didn't make tens of millions of dollars per fight back then, but he did all right. And he could have lived anywhere, moved anywhere he wanted, but he chose to stay in his own neighborhood, in his community that he grew up in. So he built this house here at 3517 E Street, corner of 35th and E in San Diego. And this is where he lived for many, many, many years until he passed away. And everybody knew this was Archie Moore's house. And he did a lot of things for the community, which is one reason he stayed here. And one unique thing about this house is he built a swimming pool in the shape of a boxing glove, which is still back there. You can see on the old Google Street View aerial. This house has changed hands a number of times since he passed away, so there's other people living here now, but Archie Moore's house. Now, Archie Moore, in his later years, got bit by the acting bug a little bit, and he appeared on Perry Mason. He appeared on Batman, A Family Affair, The Fall Guy, and other TV shows and some movies. But his biggest blessing was he created programs to help the underprivileged youth and was a motivational speaker speaking against the ills of drugs and violence. And he did that throughout all his later years. And he was very much a mentor in the community for the youth and trying to help them stay out of trouble. And that's something his son, after Archie Moore passed away, his son kept going, and his son took over that role and continued it. In 1994, Archie Moore had a number of health issues, and he was eventually put into a San Diego hospice. And after being in hospice for a bit, he ended up having a heart attack and passing away. He had a memorial service, large memorial service, lots of people. San Diego County Sheriff Bill Collender officiated. And then Archie Moore, per his wishes, was cremated. And his urn was brought here to Cypress View Mausoleum. And we'll go in and check out his place. And Archie Moore's niche is right next to the Chapel of Worship, right along the main hallway. And it just says Archie Lee Moore with his birth and death years. But you can come and visit and pay your respects anytime. So that's going to do it, ladies and gentlemen, for this story about Archie Moore and his training camp out here in Ramona, California. I hope you enjoyed it. I appreciate you watching. One thing you should do, you should definitely check out the autobiography that Archie Moore co-wrote with a guy by the name of Mike Fitzgerald called Ageless Warrior, The Life of Boxing Legend Archie Moore. You should definitely read that. But please keep checking out our videos. We got plenty of them up on the channel, so we will see you next time.